Hello witchlings, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be on how to make a witch bottle, as well as the history of witch bottles. Very exciting, 10 out of 10. I have to actually, I'm using my book for this recipe because the witch bottle recipe in this book came directly out of my book of shadows, and I don't feel like filtering through my book of shadows to find where I put it. And this is, I'm guessing it's in the protection section. It says tools. Okay, cleansing and protecting spaces. All right, that's a cleansing ritual. This is protection. Oh, witch bottle, here it is. It's on page 112 in the UK edition. The US edition is coming out on April 26th. Buy it. You could pre-order it. So witch bottles, to my assumption, had two purposes. Witch bottle history. You know what I should do? I should put my glasses on so I can actually read this. All right, witch bottle history with chaotic witch on. So dated at least to the 16th century is the practice of the witch bottle. Bottles were originally made of stone and contained rusty nails, urine, thorns, hair, menstrual blood, pieces of glass, wood, and bone. The witch bottle tradition originated in the East Anglia region of England in the late Middle Ages. All right, here we go. This is a nice National Library of Medicine. I trust them. All right, so it looks like, and here's the thing, a lot of the things used by witches today either have been used by witches for a very long time or were used to protect against witches in the Middle Ages, which is always really funny. Witch balls is an example of that. They were used to ward off witches. Referenced, they are an example of folk magic, witchcraft or ritual acts, or to material descriptions of particular objects. Line of defense and apotropaic armory of the home, protective charm for houses. Museum of London discusses them as objects used to protect against witches, but they do have an unequivocal association with protection from witchcraft due to several accounts in primary literature. Definitely in apotropaic literature. If you're unaware of what apotropaic means, it's something that has protective properties. It's all the P's. Apotropaic. Objects were made and used to protect the home in the early modern period. Nailing of horseshoes to doors, hinder the power of witches that enter the house. I love how everything that I use in my folk practice was like, ward off witches, and I'm like, huh? They're situated within a broader context of objects concealed within domestic properties, most of which likely function defensively. No known primary text described witch bottles as protective objects. Instead, they wholly substantiate that this was a curative practice for a specific affliction of bewitchment. Merrifield sometimes refers to the practice as an antidote to witchcraft. He also references it as a rustic superstition or a traditional folk custom. There is a 2017 article called Witch Bottles Uncorking a History of Dark Superstition. I love this quote. As indicated by Merrifield, superstition and magic, often overlapping, though not identical categories, are often set in direct contrast to science and rationalism in the West today, where superstitious belief signifies belief held without proper scientific grounding, producing no real effects. Fuck you, superstition. My shit's real. It's kind of seen as a facet of folk culture. And very typically, it had things like menstrual blood, bones, objects associated with the person in it as a protective thing. So I do love how a bunch of folk practices are like, we're gonna do this thing to protect us from witches, and you look at it and it's a whole ass spell and you're like, okay. But this is my basic witch bottle recipe. This is if you don't want to use bodily fluids. There are other methods to do so, but I do still recommend sharp objects. Mustard seeds are also really great in witch bottles because folklorically mustard seeds you'd spill them somewhere and then the spirit has to stop and count every single one before he can move on. Same with brooms. That's why Italian witches keep brooms by the front door. So what you need is a bottle. Jar. Do I have a spare jar laying around? It doesn't have a lid either. I don't keep many like spare jars around. ASMR with chaotic witch hunt. So the goal is you put a bunch of stuff in this jar that mimics you, and then you bury it somewhere, or you put it under your bed is my go-to. I put mine under my bed, and then it rolled further under the bed, and then it stayed there, and then it spilled on my floor. And then I didn't sleep for a while. So always good to seal these properly with a nice hefty lid. What you're gonna need: fingernails and hair if you want to do urine, blood, etc. That's the traditional way. Bone, your bones. Actually, they didn't specify whose bones. So let's omit the bones. Something from you to mimic you in this jar. This particular one has red thread because red thread is protective. You can also use black thread. I literally just like put it in there. You can also tie it around the outside. Make it pretty. Vinegar. So vinegar substitutes for urine, and wine, which is also in here, substitutes for blood. If you want, you can consecrate the wine and the vinegar. I would consecrate the wine, like water into wine, it's the whole thing. Pins are sharp objects. I do have my little disclaimer. Be careful when handling sharp objects, especially needles, pins, or pieces of broken glass. Nice. I use pins, rusty nails, broken glass, the like. I do have a thing of hair. I don't have any extra fingernails lying around, but I do have some hair somewhere around here. My old hair, not someone else's hair. And then for herbs, I use chili peppers, cloves, thyme, eggshell, sea salt, wormwood. You don't need to use all of those. I do love a good wormwood. Sea salt you can use if you want. I do love a good clove in here. Chili peppers, spicy. Thyme, 10 out of 10. Not sure why I use that. Sometimes I feel like in my spells I literally just kind of threw thyme in there, like for fun. I think thyme actually works to make the spell more potent, so it makes sense. But that would also make sense why I have so many spells that are like, thyme! I'm like, okay. Eggshells, you don't have to. If you don't have eggshells or sea salt, if you put salt in it, I wouldn't bury it in case it leaks because the salt can harm the ground. Can make the ground go woo. Wormwood is good. I discussed mustard seeds and how they count it. If you don't want to do a jar, doing a poppet with the same kind of purpose of like functioning as something like you to catch things sent to you also works. A scapegoat is what I've heard this to be referred to as, and a good example of that is in Grove Daughter Witchery, which I'm gonna pull out and do. Basically, reading witch bottle. I don't want to make a witch bottle today because I don't have access to wine or vinegar. And I don't feel like peeing in a cup. Place all the ingredients in the jar with the intent to protect or capture spirits and energy cast against you. Like I said, I should have added mustard seed to this, but I don't think mustard seed is really as easy to get as eggshells and thyme. 2, I don't have a particular chant for the spell. I encourage you to make your own. Or charge each object with specific intent. Charge by placing the object or ingredient with a sigil and crystal lined up with your intent in a bag. Leave for 9 days beforehand. This is a preparation. That's also a really good way to charge things. 9 is a number of power, but you can also use 3, 5, 7, or 13. Who did this? Who wrote this? 9, 3, 6, 9 are good. That's if you're functioning under the Italian folk belief. 5, I guess for 5 for the pentacle and the 5 elements. 7 is also a blessed number. 13 is a lucky number in Italy, so never do 17 though. You can also bless or consecrate your ingredients, say a prayer over it. If you are interested in prayers that are not Christian or Catholic, you can get the Pagan book of, what is it called? Where is it? Damn it, where'd it go? I have it, it was right here. Did I move it? Oh, no, there it is. Yep. The big book of Pagan prayer and ritual. I'll go over some of these. It's by Cesar Serth. I do love this. Okay, here we go. We got a bunch of different prayers in here. Purification before praying. There's ritual prayer, beginning, sacred space, the home, callings, praise, litanies and mantras, thanksgiving and graces, consecrations, blessings, time of the day, time of the moon, time of the year, time of life, ending, farewell, dissolving the space. Petitionary prayers are in here. Petitioning, general requests and offerings, abundance, mind and soul, well-being, civic prayers, miscellaneous petitions. It has a glossary of deities and offerings. I do love that. This is my go-to for if you need some prayers to do during spells. I think the power of prayer is the same throughout paganism and Catholicism or full Catholicism. After placing all the charged ingredients in the jar, close tightly and take a black candle anointed with a protective oil to burn on top. Make sure you are not using a plastic lid. That will light on fire. I use jars with metal lids, yeah. You can put a protective sigil on the candle, you can use a taper chime candle, you can also seal the bottle with wax, but depending on the type of jar you're using, this could prove difficult. I like to just let my candle burn down. When the candle is finished burning, watch the candle patterns and the way the flame burns for information on the spell's doing. You can put it in the desired location, you can put it under the bed, and if it's blackened or darkened or some kind of mold or fungus has grown, I would change it. Nice. Furthermore, there was another one, Scapegoat. Where's Grove Daughter Witchery? This is by Brina Guerin. I posted about it on my Insta recently. I actually love her so much. This is a great spell book to have on hand. It's very thinking outside the box, and that makes me very happy. Where is it? I think it's in the front, isn't it? Or maybe I probably like tabbed it. No, I did not. Scapegoat on page 65. So this utilizes a cloth poppet, name slip, or a tag lock, scissors, needle and thread, and herbs for protection or countering. Their poppets attuned to the witch who created them. They are built to absorb, deflect, and neutralize things you don't want coming near you, such as magical backlash, bad luck, or if need be, baneful spells. And this, great. Also, I would remind you oftentimes that in order for a scapegoat or a poppet to do its job, you should feed it. Give it a little smoke, give it an offering. I know that sounds weird, but trust me, it makes all the difference. Oh, delicious. I know this isn't technically like a spell walkthrough, like I'm not doing it with you, but it's generally because I don't have a lot of the ingredients I need. Lips. And also the thing with witch bottles is I feel like it's such a personal process. Like this was the one in my book was a personal method that I used that I found tried and true for me, which is why I gave it to you. But substitutions are always perfect. Doing things your own way is always perfect. This book, Grove Daughter Witchery, has a thing of substitutions, like a substitution text in the back. So I love this book. So if you don't have time, hold on. So if you don't have, it has a whole section on cleansing, command. Ooh, do you know how hard it is to find command plants? So difficult. Cursing, exorcism, my favorite. Fertility, eloquence. Finding lost objects, my favorite. Hex breaking, there we go. So hydrangea is one. If you don't have chili pepper, you can use hydrangea, you can use agrimony, angelica root, dill, fennel, garlic. As well as that, I don't know where thyme falls into play here. I believe thyme is for protection. Oh my god, there's so many protection herbs. Hold on, where's tea? I don't have time for this. Jokes. But anyway, substitution table in here. If not, go with your own herbal associations. Because my herbal allies have kind of changed and morphed a lot, I'm probably more likely to do a poppet at this point than a witch bottle, and that's okay, because I love a good scapegoat. I do have a scapegoat candle. I don't burn it very often though. So, I mean, nowadays I probably use chili peppers, I'd use a lot of rusty nails, I'd use maybe some bones of an animal that's carnivorous, some kind of animal to sick on whoever sends me something. I'd use some rue, I'd use maybe a little bit of mugwort, chili peppers still will come through. And yeah, I'd go from there. But yeah, these are the 3 books that I used for this video. Spells for Change, this is by me. April 26th, I think I said that already. Grove Daughter Witchery by Brina Guerin. And a big book of pagan prayer and ritual by Sesawir Sereth. Good shit. That's my witch bottle video. I do love it. If you guys want me to make a video of me making a scapegoat, hit me up. I mean, just let me know. I will make a video of me making the scapegoat. I will consider this kind of like a spell walkthrough video, even though I'm not doing it with you, but it gives you all the information. It takes you through everything you need, and I think that is enough for a spell walkthrough. But yeah, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, leave a comment. If you want to like, subscribe, turn the bell on, feel free, but no pressure. Remember to drink water and have an amazing rest of your day. Sa benedica.